Welcome back. It's 11:15 in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is FM 100.3 KFAN. It's your favorite radio station, FM 100.3 KFAN. Discussed this in passing yesterday. We're going to pay it off today. NFC North teams that missed the playoffs last year, but will turn that frown upside down this year. The top candidates identified via the 9 to noon research staff include the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the New York Giants and or Washington Commanders. The reason the research staff put the New York Giants into the equation is because of a this is an opinion being formulated, but a dramatic coaching upgrade from Daboll and Kafka did a good job, but he's not a reputable head coach at this stage of his equation. John Harbaugh is. He's going to be a Hall of Fame head coach most likely, and he now leads the Giants. So the Giants with Jackson Dart getting another year, Malik Neighbors returns, Scadaboo's going to be back, and so on and so on. Then you have Washington with the return of Jaden Daniels and Durante Jones, former Vikings defensive backs coach. He was the right-hand man to Brian Flores in their time together here. Well, Durante is now the defensive coordinator for Washington, so that should help their defense. So turning the frown upside down with these NFC North teams. We go to the 9 to noon research desk, and here is Miko Nordo.
Well, good morning. I'm going to start, so I'm going to leave division collision related bit with the Kitties for a little bit down the road, if you're cool with that.
Sure.
So I'm going to start with the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are super interesting to me. PA, they went 7-9-1 last season. Mm-hmm. Their defense was absolutely putrid. That one, by the way, that tie was that primetime shootout with Jordan Love and the Packers.
And one thing to consider. The con is if we add 1, 2, or 3, we need to eliminate 1, 2, or 3 from last year.
Ooh, yes, we do. The parity and the playoff turnover.
Yeah.
If
like
one of
the
these
Chickens,
yeah,
the Rams, they're in.
Likely.
The Bears. And this is not copyright common, Barney the Purple Dinosaur here, spouting into a microphone. They don't have a fourth place schedule. Things are a lot different for the Bears this year from a scheduling standpoint and where the games fall and stuff like that. And
that's right.
They play in the best division in the National Football League.
And the Niners, by the way, 3 teams from the NFC West went to the postseason.
Right.
Could the Niners be in a spot where they're on the outside?
The 49ers have so many older players. It's a team that is reliant upon veterans, and their best players, generally speaking, are veterans. McCaffrey, second half of his career, Kittle, second half of his career, and so on. The 49ers are going to face a precipitous drop one of these days. I just don't know which day it's going to be. But
they keep holding on, man, because that coaching staff, as good as they are, continue to find ways, no matter what is in their way. So,
who'd you begin with?
We're going to start with the 7-9-1 Cowboys from a year ago. The key for this team, as you look at it, and you got Schottenheimer in the mix as the coach, and this offense was absolutely humming. And, you get Javonte Williams resurrecting his career, and you got CD, you got Pickens. But this defense was just so brutal. I mean, it was last across the board in so many different categories, but most important among them, 32nd in scoring. They allowed 35 passing touchdowns. I mean, that's 2+ a game.
And they still, stupid question, I apologize. They still have Quinnen Williams, right?
Well, let's roll into that. This is why, this is a team last year. They beat the Eagles and Chiefs in consecutive weeks before allowing 44 to the Lions. They lose to us in prime time, even though we have no highlights to prove the game existed. and then they get crushed.
Why? Anyway, go ahead.
They got crushed by the Chargers at home, very much in the same vein of that nasty Thursday night affair that we had to deal with. So that effectively ended their season there.
They have Jonathan Bullard. Good luck running against the Cowboys.
Well, so they have Kenny Clark. They have Quinnen Williams. I don't know what Rashawn Gary is going to offer them. But they drafted that UCF stud Malachi Lawrence, if you remember pre-draft, kind of peeking at him a little bit, some quality on the field potentially.
Yeah.
And this is a team that Ezeraku stud, you remember him as a rookie last year, kind of playing out of his shoes? He's going to be better as a second-year player if you project forward. They got one of the better safeties in free agency, Jalen Thompson, former Cardinal. They also added cornerback Kobe Durant from the Rams. And what's going to be an interesting change here, new defensive coordinator, his name's Christian Parker. I have no idea who he is. But they're switching from what they've been a lot over the course of time, a 4-3 base to a 3-4.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to be pushing some edge rushers.
So they decided to go to a 3-4 the year after they get rid of Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Where he is just a wonderful 3-4 edge linebacker.
You could almost say he was built to play in that type of environment. As I mentioned, Javonte Williams went for 1,200 last year. Again, I don't know if that's a flash in the pan, new scenery around him, but this offense with Dak still has CD, still has Pickens, still has Ferguson. And if you're looking at their schedule, you roll in, you go to New York right out of the gates. That's primetime. That's tough. 2 division games. They'll host Washington the next week. They do host the Ravens, but at Houston, Tampa, Green Bay, the schedule is kind of tough on them early. But then you start finding the Arizona at home. You start finding, can the Colts figure things out? Who knows what Danny Dimes is doing health-wise? And I forget, what is it, Riley something? Riley Leonard, I believe, might be playing games for them early in the season, but they got Tennessee at home. And so they have some winnable games potentially down the stretch. But this is a team, I think, whether it was injury issues, just an absolutely god-awful defense, the transition period taking place to a 3-4, it's murky for them. But if that defense was mid-lane last year, they're a playoff team. Again, they went back-to-back battling the Chiefs and the Eagles. This is a game squad. They can score with anybody, but their defense can't be allowing 30 points a game like they did. So,
well, their coordinator, Christian Parker, is a first-time coordinator.
Yeah.
So they're raising a defensive coordinator on the fly. He may be ballyhooed. He may be super highly touted, but he still is doing it for the first time. So there will be some metaphorical moguls. But what I do like about what they did is they got Parker, this defensive coordinator, from the Philadelphia Eagles. He was the passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach. So they pilfered the guy from the division so he can share secrets.
What are the opinions on Gannon? Because Jonathan Gannon now with the Packers, of course, I thought he was a high end, well, clearly enough to get a head coaching job, gets hired by the Cards. But now he's in Green Bay. And so from Halfley, for the most part, did a good enough job to get his own head coaching opportunity.
Yeah.
Did they just slide in an elite defensive coordinator that gets Micah Parsons midway into the season and might be giving us heck throughout the years here in Green Bay?
Yeah, if I'm Jonathan Gannon, I'm like looking at both jobs and I'm thinking, where do I want to go? To the team that has Micah Parsons or the team that's a $3 bill, it's so counterfeit? The con! I think I'll sweat out Lambeau.
So that's where the Cowboys are. In the NFC East, it's still the fact that the Eagles are, I still look as the Eagles being the class of that division. But, number 2 would be this particular team in the Cowboys. We'll talk about the Commanders and the Giants. How about these Bucks, though? Do you remember the 3-way tie for that division? I had seen a talk back, that didn't end up, we didn't use it. But it was a question basically, is the NFC North the only division where every team could potentially finish in any spot?
Yeah.
And that's maybe how tight the NFC North is. You think the NFC South's a little bit like that?
Yes.
I don't know what they love or don't love about Tyler Shook, but he kind of came in there. They were a 6-win team with a 2.5 or 3.5 total into the season. And then you had 3 teams in Carolina who was kind of the best of the somewhat mediocre.
Yeah.
At 8-9, you have an 8-9 team winning the division with tiebreakers killing out the Bucks and Falcons.
Don't you think New Orleans would be prohibitively favored to finish last in the South? And prohibitive favorites don't always win. I'm not super bullish on Atlanta. I need to see more from Michael Penix Jr. I wasn't a Giant fan coming out of UW.
Well, you're going to see Tua right out of the gates, aren't you?
That's what I was getting at.
Okay, yeah.
Is that you got him, but you also have Tua. And I'm not, I just don't really know what he does well either. So when you're looking at a situation like that, and hey, maybe some people can say, Well, what are you talking about? You're talking out of both sides of your mouth, Homer. You have the same thing with Minnesota. All right. I mean, Kyler Murray is not as accomplished. Well, Kyler Murray, if you think he's going to go Sam Darnold on it, that would be great. There are facets about Sam Darnold's game that I like markedly more than Kyler Murray's. But obviously, with what they've done here with this coaching staff with quarterbacks, it's noteworthy. Can the Falcon staff say the same thing about reclamation projects that include injury for both of them?
Yeah.
And Tua, who, he has a lot to prove. So both the quarterbacks here have a lot to prove. Both of the quarterbacks there have a lot to prove, but I'd still take these two.
Yeah, Tua and no one satisfied, whoever he is. I just looked at FanDuel Sportsbook. Mm-hmm. The Bucks are the fave. So I got to find totals. This is a little wonky right now. They're not giving me everything I need. But to make the playoffs 2026, Rams, of course, prohibitively favored in the NFC, minus 500. But as you start looking down the list, where are the NFC South teams? The Bucks come in as the favorite in that division, plus 146. The second team, the Saints.
What?
Plus 172, yes.
Okay, they housed people in the draft or free agency that I'm just not thinking about.
Well, I got to look at a depth chart, but the Falcons would be third, and the Carolina Panthers are the last team in odds at plus 240.
So Carolina beat Tampa Bay for the division and had to run them down at the wire. So Canales' team got hot at the right time and started, and Bryce Young started to show a pulse. I mean, he actually looked like he has a chance to be pretty good. The Buccaneers did the moonwalk. I mean, they had that Division I, man. And then they started losing games, and they came back to the pack. So now Carolina, it's the third or fourth place schedule compared to a first place schedule.
Right.
That has to play into Carolina being favored to finish last in the NFC South.
Well, it must. Now, with the Panthers last year, I mean, you want to talk about moonwalk. They lost 3 of their final 4, including the season finale at Tampa Bay. But it was some New Orleans game, I think, that triggered the 3-teamer, and that's how Carolina got in the first place. So, and they just lost. They lost a defensive player on the first day of camp. I think he had an ACL down in Carolina. So tough times out of the gates for them. But Tampa for me, if you look at it real quick, and then we'll pause and continue this.
We'll pause for the cause.
We will pause for the cause. The O-line, their center is the only guy last year who didn't miss time. 5 different tackles and 5 different guards getting meaningful. Like, we're talking 100-plus snaps. Justin School went back there, by the way, and Dan Feeney's there, too, both reserves.
Oh, Fandini.
But Wirfs and Barton, the first-round picks, Cody Mock, and Godeke, the second-rounders, and then they have Bredesen down there, too, so they need that. But Bucky Irving only played 10 games, wasn't great in those games, by the way, maybe matching up with the O-line ineffectiveness. Kenny Gainwell is now in the Rashad White spot as well.
Wow.
They have a new OC, and it's a division transfer. Zach Robinson came from Atlanta down to Tampa, so maybe that's a spark. But defensively, they got Ruben Bain. And still Cansey, Vita Vea, Winfield Jr. We know some of those names, but that defensive front's really going to have to help them out. But they just losing close games, not able to stabilize. You're right. They were 6-2 at the bye, 2-7 the rest of the season. Were the Bucs.
The New Orleans Saints added running back Travis Etienne Jr.
Okay.
Noah Fant. Honestly, nobody cares.
Yeah.
So it has to be a schedule thing, right?
They drafted that Jordan Tyson pretty high.
Oh yeah, but I mean, seriously, if we're sweating Banks' foot here, they got 9 things to sweat with that Arizona State wide receiver.
Don't they still have? They still have Cam Jordan, don't they?
Yep, Cam Jordan, 16th year, 37 years of age from Cal. Alvin Kamara, 30 years old, 10th year from Tennessee. So they still have those wily veterans, no doubt.
So the bet's got to be on the 4th place schedule combined with maybe the evolution of Tyler Shook.
Chris Olave's good. The quarterback, I think Shook went to Louisville.
He did.
So and he was pretty good. So I'm looking at this roster right now, and I just really can't see any way, no matter what the schedule looks like, the Saints are going to finish ahead of the Panthers.
Yeah, I personally don't get it, but
I understand that, brother.
I want better odds on the Saints. Give me better odds on the Saints, please.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pause with a keyword, and then we got some more teams to chat about here.
Holler.
It's the Fan and BigDeck.com. They want to give you a shot at some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. This hour's keyword is preset. Use the keyword preset at KFAN.com.
This is PA on iHeartRadio.
Welcome back, 9 to noon on a Friday feast. KFAN Bradshaw and Bryant text line, 64686. Just want to let you guys know, yes, was aware that LeBron is signing. We addressed it with Alec Lewis at last hour. He is signing with the 76ers. The dream of the Howl, at least for this moment with LeBron, is dead. Doesn't mean the season's ruined. Still trying to figure out what we're going to do at the 4. But does that matter as much offensively versus just how we adjust defensively? We'll dig into that and we'll talk about it. But on a Friday football feast, running through when PA gets back in, I'm excited to hear where his head rests and where his mind goes as it pertains to the New York Giants. The New York Giants. So the idea behind this bit was looking at NFC teams that potentially can find their way into the playoff mix. And, of course, if a new team is in, that means another team would be out. But he put on this list the New York Giants. So last segment talking about the Dallas Cowboys, awesome offense, putrid defense, middling team. And that was kind of the end of the story. But when you look at the Giants, so much work needs to be done. And maybe right off the top, you can say that adding John Harbaugh as Dable and company went out and bringing in John Harbaugh, that's potentially just enough in its own right to find your way to more victories. Now, in the NFC East, with the Eagles being the class, and then you have a Cowboys team with a completely retooled defense. You know, we went through some of the names. They drafted Caleb Downs as well. So getting Caleb Downs in the mix, those impressive Buckeye defenders, that's going to be good for the Cowboys. So we'll see. We're not rooting for the Cowboys here. But to that end, the New York Football Giants at 4-13 were mostly a disaster. Moments of brilliance from Jackson Dart. Gots to cut down on the concussions and the way that he's taking hits on the field. I'm sure everybody in New York spent the summer talking about that. But what is new, what is fresh with the New York Giants? Well, if they want to find their way into the postseason this year, maybe first and foremost, you're just thinking, hey, 4th place schedule. That's going to come up with the kiddies when we talk about Detroit as well, and maybe what some changes are. Drew Petzing in the mix with them, needs some healthy defenders. But this is a team talented enough to bounce back into the mix. Is that the case for the New York Giants? So looking at the G-men here for a moment. So Harbaugh, Cam Scatterbo, excuse me. Tyrone Tracy did the best that he could. I think there's an expiration date. When we were trying to find nicknames for Max Bredesen and that talkback, Bam Bam. Is there anybody in the NFL that encapsulates the idea of Bam Bam more than Cam Scatterbo does? But he should be healthy. He's doing backflips. He says he's fine. Cam Scatterbo's back. Malik Neighbors is back. Now that is a thing. Malik Neighbors is back, and that's going to be unbelievable at times, from Jackson Dart to Malik Neighbors now that he's healthy. They also added Malachi Fields. And basically, I can't believe this. I don't know if you looked at the depth chart, PA, for the Giants.
Yep.
They're throwing 50 wide receivers at this thing until they find a trio they got Odell back on the field, and it's Darnell Mooney, it's Juju Smith-Schuster, it's Braxton Berrios, and Calvin Austin, I think, who was making memories with A-Rod in Pittsburgh last year.
I still only like one team to make it from the NFC East.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. But again, if you're going to turn a frown upside down, you need to eliminate requisite teams from the previous years.
Yep.
Previous year. I have no problem eliminating Carolina and replacing them with the division winner in the South. Outside of that, San Francisco, Chicago, I don't really know where I'd go after that.
Well, that's the thing. And just before continuing to dig in briefly on said on said Giants.
I just love how you send me subtle reminders, which is like a single word that a break's coming up. So you're like, well, we're going to, as we continue to go over this briefly, I understand.
No,
it's brilliant.
No, but to what we were talking about, though, if somebody's in, somebody's out, right? You only got one out of the NFC East a year ago, so you got to play that game. Two out of our division.
Is Philly a cinch to go to the postseason? I mean, with all that talent, it should be.
I don't know. Maybe has it been overlooked? Like, what is Philly doing? Mm-hmm. I mean, what is fit now? See, this is why we should have just opened the show with
That's a good bit for next week.
Because,
I mean, we can do the same thing with the AFC. We can gravy train Tennessee's brilliant idea that we won't share right now, but we're going to do it next week. And I don't know what the name would be for it, and if alliteration is needed or whatever. But off what you just said, it's, not turn the frown upside down, but take the upside down and turn it into a frown. Teams that you generally count on to make the postseason who won't.
Right.
And Eagles could be top of the charts. I'd be careful with the New England Patriots too. Now, they're and I'm stepping on the touchdown call for next week, so I'll just stop here briefly. I'll briefly go through this. But Jets aren't going to the playoffs. Miami Dolphins are not going to the playoffs. Buffalo Bills are going to the playoffs. So Bills winning the division wouldn't surprise anybody. But and Drake May, would love to have Drake May on the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, he's fantastic. And they have young players going the right way. The Vrabel Rossini distraction. That Vrabel distraction situation is a distraction. And when he starts getting into somebody behind the scenes about some things that they're not doing right, not everybody's going to look him in the eyes and say, paraphrasing, bro, am I really supposed to listen to this from you right now?
Well,
are you kidding me?
Not to mention any single time that somebody an insider offers information about the Patriots camp, a Patriots game, anything inside the building. That joke is never going to die.
It's a distraction, which is the ultimate equalizer.
And Drake May, as good as he looked last year at times, he has a right to regress a little bit.
Right.
Every single thing went their way last season. So how do they build on
their
that?
Their schedule was terrible last year, so they fell into that off the fourth place schedule bit.
You could look at them a lot like the Bears.
I have intel that, and I would prefer to have Drake May over Caleb Williams. Now, I would prefer Ben Johnson 10 of 10 times over Mike Vrabel, so that plays into it too. But I do have honest intel that Drake May's arm-shoulder situation last year, if you thought it was a 4 of 10 bad, it was about a 7 of 10 bad. And he lost. I mean,
he was playing hurt and
I can't
getting
remember
through
what I was told. Especially in the Super Bowl, might have lost 15 to 20 yards on passes that require velocity. So in other words, he can go right hash mark outside the numbers left side with a bullet.
Yeah.
Done. Okay, we're not doing that.
Right.
And he's good at throwing deep passes like that. Well, we can't do that either because this is the Super Bowl. And they had a shot. So I think Drake Mays really, really has the potential to take off again this year.
The way that you phrase things, the listeners listen. And when you're talking about the controversy and the potential distraction of Vrabel and Rossini and all these articles, when you said, when he's getting into somebody behind the scenes, the con! A couple people laughed at that.
Yes, I didn't. That was not a double entendre. Like talking about Alec Lewis's movie selections. The con! Being Shaving Ryan's Privates. That was an intended entendre.
Putting a stamp on the Giants. I don't think they're going to win the East. I don't look at them as being. If they are a playoff team, that means John Harbaugh is coach of the year, and Neighbors is available week 1, right? That's still iffy. He's not on the PUP list, but
good point.
Can he get out of the gates? Arvell Reese has to be defensive rookie of the year conversation guy. They got a meat and potatoes group. It's Bernsey and it's Abdul Carter. You love those high enders. Arvell, a rookie, he's young, but they're going to need DJ Reader to stay healthy the whole season. They're going to need Shelby Harris to be that bowling ball, and just so many different things have to be vastly better. I still think Scadaboo Like, I think that there's an expiration date on how he plays, and I don't think
I think
that
you're right.
he can be might you say, coerced or coaxed into playing a different way.
Right. The frown upside down also includes the Minnesota Vikings, where they're looking to turn the frown upside down too. That may require winning the division, but I mean, it does. You have to eliminate somebody to add somebody. Interesting conversation. The post game, sponsored by Owl Roofing, is next.
This is 9 to noon on the Fan.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival
presented by Capital One
is coming back to life.
Post game, what did you miss? What do you podcast for the weekend? Post game, courtesy of 9 to noon, and Owl Roofing and owlroofing.com. Stand up individuals, honest, effective, and efficient. If you have a roof problem or you're looking for some siding, go ahead and call them, because unlike a lot of roofing companies, they will answer the phone. Owl Roofing, thanks for the post game.
Yeah, to the post game we go. Nico Medved just signed a fresh extension, and talking about some players. It was an awesome segment. It's like 20-some minutes long, I think, starting around 9:40. You can podcast that shortly after the show.
I figured you had a best of coming one of these days.
but here... Oh, wow. Labor Day. Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Nico Medved will be in the mix for Labor Day best of.
Got 21 out of it.
Here's that part of that conversation he was talking about, the contract extension. You said, yeah, it was great that happened right after year one.
Yeah, it's not anything, you anticipated. I mean, I knew, coming in here, we had to roll up our sleeves, and we had a lot of work to do to build the program. And then, boy, we dealt with all those injuries. And I remember there were a lot of nights I came home and we're getting ready to dive into Big Ten play. And I'm telling my wife, I'm like, I don't know if we're going to be able to win a game. We started with 7 guys after Christmas, and boy, those guys really, really came together and gave us everything they had. And then we had another injury. We're down to 6, and they still found a way to win some games and be competitive, and fun to see the energy back in the barn. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that they, wanted to come and do a little contract extension with us. So we're really grateful. It's a place I want to be, and we're excited about what we're doing here.
The Con!
So that's Nico Medved, and then also throughout the middle hour, I mean, it's just, there are so many different things that can be, are, or will be discussed when Alec Lewis is in studio. But heavy conversation on the Minnesota Vikings with training camp along the way. Not just, this quarterback competition conversation won't stop, but should stop because it's kind of fascinating. To, hey, is the T-Rex armed Caleb Tiernan going to find his way into the mix via camp or depth or our version of Dan Skipper? To some base opinions on a lot of these players that we're going to be seeing starting next week. What are things, are there faces that need to be changed on certain guys, people that make you curious, third tight end versus fourth wide receiver, nicknames for Max Bredesen. The talkback machine in the text line was on fire today, so big thanks to all of you listeners. But you know how it goes with Alec on a weekly basis, so that was terrific.
Gone with that, Alice.
Yeah, Alice Lewis.
Alec does live in Wonderland.
He certainly does. And but then, of course, so Alec Lewis in the mix, and then just some football fodder on a feast day. It was a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, it was great. And podcasted, if you are so inclined. It's the Friday Football Feast, which will be back at Buffalo Wild Wings this year. I don't believe a schedule has been released yet. If it has, I apologize. But this is, like I said yesterday with Ben Lieber, it's starting to churn. The alacrity with which things are coming at us is increasing day by day. Vikings training camp next week, baseball in the second half of the season, and Wild training camps coming up soon. They're figuring out that TV deal. LeBron has gone to Philadelphia, so we can put that to bed. Go Trey Lyles. And things are just starting to go quickly, and 9 to noon really appreciates that. All right, brother, have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too, man.
That's Eric Nordquist. He produces 9 to noon, and I'm Paul Allen. May God bless you and all of your families. And I can't wait to chat with you 90 minutes from now on the program with Dan Cole, the Common Man. Yours truly and Lil B are taking on Common and Mike Grimm in Program Password.
Oh, wow.
That'll be at 1:30. Watch it on YouTube or listen to it here at FM 100.3 KFAN. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bye-bye.
lucky we got 'em.
9 to noon.
Good time.
The game is over.
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.